So it's a glorious looking day here in the crown jewel of Surrey, where the prices are expensive, the people are discourteous, and the traffic is choking. Now, Nick Hazel has managed to work his way up to one whole feedback, but given that Bjorn pays us to drive the car for laughs, he's still getting the test drive here. Right, let's have a quick look at our setup. Right. Downforce, nobody could tell me one way or the other whether what sort of downforce they're interested in. I think we'll drop it just a little because we're talking high-speed corners here. So if we drop it by enough so that we can actually tell whether it's making any difference. Really, really low downforce for Vanessa. Please don't crash the car. Meanwhile, we've gone for it's heading towards top speed. So I think if we shorten that gear ratio a little, that might work, and head towards a bit of understeer as well. It's a bit of a ludicrous setup, to be honest, but we'll go with that anyway. Right, now we have a choice of the soft or the super soft as always. What's the weather looking like? Mixture of sunny. 17 and sunny is very nice. The ideal weather to put your super softs on and see what you can get out of it. If we're going to try and keep Hazel out for as long as possible, then we're going to try and keep Vanessa. We'll multi-stop her, but we want to make sure that she is absolutely flying for the entire time. Now I'm going to go the other way with Bjorn's wing. We'll add a bit more downforce, given that his mechanic is leaning in that direction. His mechanic is also leaning towards more oversteer, which I don't buy, but we'll give it a go anyway, and more top speed. Now the cars are different, but they're not that different, right? So there we go, soft tyres, we're going to work on that, because if they are capable of 13 laps, then I will only need one replacement set of tyres. But we'll just have to see how we go. Okay, both drivers are good to go. We'll wait strip after practice as usual, because why would you do it before then? All right, off we trot. All right, Silvera's out first. We've already got everything set here. This is going to be quite a way off the ideal as far as strategy and setup are concerned. But we go with what we've decided on, and we'll figure it out from there. Cane it, both of you. Give it all you got. We don't want to be hanging around. Right, let's follow our actual number one driver in the number one car, who is being told to treat the car as though she hates it. I would imagine we'll get a radio message from one of them relatively quickly to say, that's wrong, or I quite like it. She does appear to be all over the track a little bit coming out of corners, so maybe it's not actually ideal right now. And no comment. There we go. Gearing is a bit dodgy. Right, bring her in. Bjorn can stay out an extra lap, so we'll just we'll drop him back down so he doesn't cook his tyres too heavily. We'll ease Vanessa down as well. I mean, if she rinses these tyres, doesn't really matter. She's coming in anyway, and we're not setting a time, so that's all good. Right. Okay, downforce is very poor. Well, we know which direction we've gone then, don't we? And it's the wrong one. Handling's okay. Speed balance is meh. So let's go the other way. Let's take it up to an aggressive 16.8. And then I think that might be too aggressive, but by going the other way, we will at least get a read on if we're close or not. Ease the suspension up. No, that's. You never want to be going that aggro on the suspension. That is far too hard. So we'll ease the wing back to about 16, and then we'll move the suspension. And in fact, that's very hard suspension. Feels wrong to me. Now she was okay with the speed balance as was. Would quite like a little bit more, but if we've upped the wing, then we don't want to be able to maintain some top speed. So I'm going to shift it that way and see what difference it makes. Tyre choice will keep everything exactly the same. She can even stay on the same tyres because they won't need heating up. That's my plan. We're going to stick with it. Bjelland has completed his first lap and he is half a second off the pace of 00, so we'll tell him to come in at the next opportunity. Vanessa will have a go and see if she can record a time this time out. We'll keep her on a relatively sane strategy. Well, okay. Bjorn says that the car wing is bang on. I'm dubious about that, Bjorn, but he has given it a rating of great. So, you know, that's all right. But the handling is very poor, and I don't know whether it's very poor too high, very poor too low. He's not giving me anything I can work with here. Okay, well, we'll up the suspension, given that Vanessa's preferring the understeer, and we'll I don't know, what do we think? Go up a little bit? Yeah, maybe go up a little bit. And we'll ease the downforce ever so slightly, so a 0.3 instead of the 0.1, to see if that makes life any better. Stints were all good. What do we think about that? Well, you've barely, with those changes, I've barely touched the speed balance. We'll ease that down a little bit. We've gone very understeery this time round. We'll see how we get on. Tyres look good. Get back out there, make good decisions, win the game, if you would be so kind. Vanessa's dropped to 20th, but she hasn't recorded a lap time yet, so I'm all right with that. Bjorn, keep your car on fairly aggressive. Let's go check in on Vanessa. So she prefers the downforce that we've got set up now. That's nice. I would always hope that we would make improvement over time. Hans 00 has just set the fastest Sector 3 time, big whoop. I would expect him to set good times just about everywhere. Now, the main reason for keeping Vanessa out, not only will she get a lap time off this, or in fact, the fastest lap time in your face 00, but it will allow her to build up a little bit of extra car knowledge. So we don't need her out for another lap. We'll bring her in on this one. The speed balance is feeling much worse, says she. Intriguing. Well, that's good, given that she's already set the fastest lap. Admittedly, she's on the fastest tyres, but Massilella couldn't keep pace with her either. So, what you going to do about that there, winner of the last race, Cozzo Massilella. Right, let's have a look here. Downforce is great, handling is great, and the speed balance is poor. Okay, well, we do have a comparison to make. We've gone from okay to poor. Okay to poor, so we can we want to edge a little more towards top speed, I think, like so. Is that going to be enough, or is that going to be too much? That's not going to be enough. Let's go to 69. That's quite aggressive. Meanwhile, the shift in handling was towards understeering, so if we I really don't want to go much further than that. I'm tempted to leave the wing as it is. Let's just add a 0.1 onto that and see what it gets us. Maybe a 0.2. Yeah, let's go 0.2, see what it gets us. Stints are all good. Tyre choice. Yeah, you've got enough for the remainder of practice on those tyres. Let's see how you get on. You never know. Maybe there'll be something good that comes out of it. Meanwhile, we'll bring Bjorn in so that he can get one last set. Because we might as well have him tweak the car on a reasonably confident basis before we head into the race itself. What's he done time-wise? 1:19, so he's 1.3 seconds behind his teammate. But you know, that's okay. He is the third driver on the team. Right, I saw a great and a good there. Well, that's something. So he's happy with the downforce. The handling is good. And the speed balance isn't. Okay, right, well, let's compare contrast. Higher top speed, he was happier. So he wants more understeer. Madness. And he wants more top speed. There we go. That's pretty aggressive. I'm hoping that the boy Hazel can work with this, because you know, at the end of the day, he's the one that has to complete the race. But we'll just have to see. We'll stick with the existing tyres, and see how we get on. Right, Vanessa's got just 20-something% left on her tyres now. But to be honest, she's only sitting out here now in order to just get a feel for the car, to earn some more of that race experience that we can then trade into a skill of some description come race day. Perhaps fresh tyres would have been a smart move for her this time out, but you know, it's all good. Actually, they're below 20% now, so if we tell her to ease off on the tyres, then we'll get what we get. But there's only a minute left of practice, so I don't think she's going to improve on her time at all. It would seem very unlikely. Will Bjorn be able to improve on his time? Well, I haven't really told him to give it the beans much, so that's also unlikely. But that should take us to the end of the practice session. Silvera's very happy with the wing balance. Bjorn is pretty chuffed with the speed balance adjustments that we made. Vanessa's tyres have had it, but that's okay. She's now finished. So there we go. That's wrapped up practice. Let's see how we get on in the real thing. There we go, Vanessa third overall. Obviously, the Garuda boys locking in faster times at the end of the session. Stop scrolling, would you? Would you stop scrolling? Would you please cease your scrolling? Never mind. Now, on the slightly harder compound, the slightly harder wearing tyre, Bjorn was fourth fastest on those tyres. I don't think you can read too much into that, but the goal is going to be for for us to complete the race in one sitting with Nick Hazel. Very, very doubtful that he'll be able to do that, but we'll just have to see. Here come the messages from the fans. Manami Kakinuma, who is a fan apparently, is at Firebird MRT, "You're lame," with 3 exclamation marks. She really means it. Meanwhile, Vanessa is saying, "Freddie Cooper has built us one hell of a car." And then because she can't get off the social media, apparently she really enjoyed herself out there today and the car was feeling good. D smiley face. Jose Molly, so chuffed with bulldozer power today. D smiley face. Hashtag practice heroes. Hashtag wait for the real race. Hashtag anything could happen. Gazzetta Day Motori is saying that it's an impressive 00. Massilella's car finished 4th. I don't know why that's headline worthy, but apparently it is. So let's stroll on, get things set up, and get out there and win it. So if we can finish 10th, there's an extra 400k in it for us, which obviously we want. The real question is going to be, can we? Right, Nick of the Haze is so good at nursing the car that I think that's exactly what he should do. And then we'll take race trim part 2. Or do we want... No, he shouldn't be super soft. Should be regular soft tyres. Oh, it doesn't matter, does it? Super softs. That's what he's about. But no, we'll go with race trim and we'll go with nursemaid because that's what he's best at. Vanessa, meanwhile, will take race trim, and given that she's going to be pitting frequently... Ooh, do we want performance? I think we'll go with performance over the pit risk. Really? Yeah. Yes. Yes. No. We'll go with risk taker. Despite the fact I'd take the risk anyway. If she's going to be pitting at least twice, we want to maximise the advantage through those pit stops. Yes, that's what we're taking. Okay. Yeah. Everybody happy? Pretty much. Right, okay, so we'll now get to the weight stripperoo here. Now, I'm expecting Hazel's parts to last rather well. We've got 90% reliability on the gearbox, so I'm going to drop that to 68, which is very, very aggressive. But I think the car can take it, and the engine will drop that to 79. 74. Yeah, I don't. He's that good with the car that I think it's worth it. We're going to drop everything, including the suspension. So basically, I've stripped out as many nuts and bolts from his car as possible. On Vanessa's side, we'll drop the engine, not at all. We'll drop the brakes, given that they're less crucial in this one, to 62. The gearbox, which has a reliability of 100, we can live with 70 on that. So that's a 414 there, an extra 90 points of performance. Rah! We'll see if that does us any favours or not. But there we go. We have stripped the hell out of those cars. Whether it's going to make any difference or not, but you only have to look at how we've done this season to see that we are competitive where perhaps we shouldn't have been. So we'll see how that goes. Now, with the downforce does not appear to have been quite as good. Slightly lower downforce would be better. Now that will leave us with an untested car experience. Yeah, is that really what we want? Is it what we want? Yeah, let's try it. It can't do any harm, and he's sticking it out for a bit anyway. So he was happier with what? With slightly lower downforce. Okay, right. Well, we'll lower it by a chunk and see if that makes him properly capable when it comes down to it. To be honest, we're splitting hairs at this point, and it's not going to make a massive amount of difference. Right, we are going with one-stop strategy, so you can have the soft tyres with the fuel options take as much as it's possible to put in there. Apparently you can get 10 laps out of one tank of fuel. There are 25 laps, I believe, in total. I'm pretty sure I heard 25 laps there. There we go, it's there, look. 25 laps in total, which means he needs to do 12 and a half laps on 10 laps of fuel. We're going to try it. I'm going to put him on nursemaid mode and see if that works. Right, Vanessa meanwhile is pretty happy. Got no idea what his car's like. Adjust the car balance, blah 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 blah. If you get it close to perfect as possible, you will earn a significant boost. Well, yeah, but there's significant and there's significant, isn't there? So yeah, definitely lower downforce is the way to go. All right, well, we'll make that adjustment. Given that we want Vanessa to be as competitive as humanly possible. What's the handling difference? To be honest, not a lot of difference between where she was and where she is now, so we'll leave that alone. Speed balance is apparently great. Again, we'll leave that as is. It's made the change in wing has made a slight adjustment there, but we'll just go with it. Right, now then, she's going to go through these tyres properly toot sweet, and therefore we ought to reduce the fuel load a little. Right, here's the spec on the tyres, 7 to 9. So I've gone with 8 laps worth of fuel, which she'll go through in about 7 laps. So she'll come in lap 6, lap 7, I would have thought. But saving 0.2 seconds per lap, maybe that's the differentiator here that makes it all work. Don't honestly know. All right, good. Let's get driver strategy nailed. Hazel, tyre wear, conserve fuel burn, low. There we are. That's what we're going to endeavour to work with. Whereas Vanessa, you can go aggro and punch it. Right, there's really nothing more I can do at this point, so we're going to get into the race, and it's Longo and Mush on the front of the grid, followed by Swans Plastic and Chris Shaw. Hong Lao and Nicholas Wolfrath are on the third row, before Zampelli's Xiao Hua Wu Yao and Maiko Kitasato are on the fourth row. In ninth, you've got Sarah Thomas next to Nicholas Hazel, with Vanessa Silvera and Kotso Masilella on the row behind. Then on the 7th row, it's Fodder and Moto, who we're starting to get towards the in contention section here with Ruto and Sean Mendez. Then on the 9th is Megahertz and Finger Puppet. and just behind them on the harder wearing tyres is Scott Price and Hans 00, clearly going for a limited stop strategy. With Vanessa, what we're going to do is we're going to go with the super soft to start with, before coming in and switching to a slightly harder compound tower for hopefully slightly more time on the track before the second crucial stop, where we will come in and switch to the speedy tyres to round things out. Will it work? Let's find out. So the lights are on. And they're off and we're away. Hazel unconventionally makes a good start. I'm not going to... Do we want him on let your teammate through? Probably. Someone had a bit of trouble there over on the side of the track. But the initial push here, and Silvera's not getting much out of it, so I'm actually going to get her to ease back, and I was about to tell her to let her teammate through, which is possibly not wise. Never mind. Right, do we want you to let people through? Well, the gap hasn't really opened up yet, so I don't see it as being completely necessary. And Silvera's already ahead, so it doesn't really matter at this point. Here we go. Silvera's now chomping at the bit. She wants to get in there. She wants to get stuck in, make it happen, and I'm going to give her the aggressive driving style that she loves, in order to make some progress. Hazel's going to drop places like nobody's business. To be honest, I'm quite happy for Hazel to finish dead last in this race, but we will see if we can get a solid performance out of him when it comes to maintaining the fuel. It is not going to be a viable strategy in the long term, but the challenge was set, and therefore we're going to live up to that challenge. We'll have him heat those tyres up a little bit more. As Silvera's actually doing a pretty good job. We'll zoom in, get close to the action. She's battling with a whole bunch of cars, which is pretty exciting. Up into fifth, and she's still going. We're going to have to ease off, or she's not going to stay out very long. As much as we didn't expect to stay out long at the start of the race, we do want her to at least turn up for a little bit of this openings period. Lap 7, lap 8 is when we're looking to bring her in. We're currently in lap 3, and already we've pretty much beaten the hell out of the tyres. But she is now in 4th and putting some distance over Salmone Longo, who's dropped to 5th, closing in on Sarah Thomas. Now it will be the pit stops that are the makers of the champions in this race, given the mix of those who've gone out on the harder wearing tyre, and as tempting as it is to tell Nick to put his foot down, I'm just going to let him roll easy. He's got 7 and a bit laps of fuel left in him, and we're on lap 4, so that's lap 11, and we need lap 12 and a bit. We might let him run out of fuel if it's going to be close in this first setup, but we'll worry about that when the time comes, as we zoom out a little on Vanessa to see what the action's like. She's gradually closing the gap toward first place, but to be honest, the two lead drivers are stretching their legs quite dramatically, as Vanessa's tyres... Can we make it to the end of the race with this much fuel? No, we can't, can we? And that's why we do pit stops, Vanessa. So you don't... Just relax, okay? Just take it easy. We're planning to come in anyway. You're on schedule. Everything's fine. You won't be able to get past because she's too far ahead of you. You're complaining about not being able to get past Sarah Thomas. As she is being closed down by Playmoto, maybe a little, maybe to a degree. Wolfthrath, however, is the driver of the moment and is extending his lead pretty well. If we up the action here a little more, we might be able to close in. But we're coming up on pit stop time, and that's where we'll see how we're rolling. As fourth place is very much our own. That second place, whoever that is in second, so it's Thomas in second. No, it was Mush in second. Has dropped to third and was not on the pace. So we should see Thomas now start to move ahead. And Moto has gained on this little fight, has gained pretty well. We haven't got a lot of fuel left, so we might want to back it up a little just for this, what will be her in lap. Let's tell her to pit this lap, and then we'll go back out on soft tyres. We'll juice up the car, and how the parts looking. Brakes are so-so, but we did strip those quite a lot. Everything else looking pretty reasonable, and we'll go with the fastest pit stop of 41% risk. Crikey! And that's down to the quality of my pit crew team. I might have to sack all of them and find people who are a less chancy proposition. Likely's come out behind Nicholas Hazel. Great. Well, it'll be what it is. Hopefully the fuel will last her to make that pit stop. But we'll just have to wait and see. The pack as a whole is actually relatively closely bunched, with it being 12.5 seconds to last place, where Nick has really made it his own. Silvera's off the pace now. Her tyres have had enough for today, and she's pretty much out of fuel. I gave it too much welly on that first lap, where really you could probably stick on a medium level of aggression and do reasonably well. As Steve Mush has clearly got a problem, slipping back as he has there, but he's also in the pits. So here we go. Vanessa's making it happen. Everything is looking average, and she's going back out on the softer tyres. No mistakes, but it was not a quick pit stop. We have seen faster, but she's back out now and she's on medium tyres. We'll allow her to push a little on the tyres. They should last reasonably well, but it's the fuel we want to make sure that we maintain reasonably well. Meanwhile, Hazel has just overtaken Sean Mendes. Now, I'm going to continue nursing it. If he does manage to make it to lap 12, it's possible, but unlikely. Then we might up his tempo as well to see if we can't push for a greater victory after his very late pit stop. But if you look at the tyre temperature is wretched. It's no surprise that he's not getting any love out of the car right now. But his tyre condition is the best on the field for those who have yet to come in. And it wouldn't surprise me if his fuel condition was similar, given that I've got him driving like a little old lady who drives slowly, because I know some little old ladies who like to drive very, very fast. He's 2 seconds off the pace. Play Moto's out in first at the moment, yet to come in. And Double Zero's managed to play a classic Double Zero trick. Managed to work his way up to the front with a late pit stop. But there he is, Nicholas Hazel, first place. Got 2 laps of fuel left in him. Well, there you go, doubters. The extraordinary length of this first stint may pay off. We might tell him to start aggroing a little, even if that means coming in a lap early. We could make it to lap 12, you know. Stick with it. Don't worry about the result, or do worry about the result. What are we going to do about the result? We'll stay out as long as we possibly can, and then we'll come in. We've got a 14-second cushion over Thomas, who is, well, frankly, shredding that cushion at the moment. She is taking tenths of a second off the lead that Hazel's got with every passing moment. He's got enough for one more lap. He's not going to do it in. He's not going to do it in one stop. But we'll get him back out there. Fill her up all the way, and the last bit as well, if you'd mind. All the parts are looking wonderful. We'll go with a fast pit stop because we might as well. What's the extra time? 15, an extra 3 seconds versus screwing it up. We'll go with that, and see where it gets us. He's got enough fuel to actually hit the accelerator now, because he doesn't need it to last much longer. And hopefully, I mean, there's a 12-second gap, so he's not going to come out in first. Vanessa's now in 5th, and that will probably be 4th when Hazel comes out again. This is all looking pretty promising. But 00 in classic fashion has come out in third. And I know I'm a little obsessed about him, but then so is the media. And therefore, you know, it's kind of worth paying in mind. There seems to be a battle between Silvera and Moto. I have told Hazel to come into the pits. There he is. So we'll keep an eye on that while Hazel's doing his thing. Vanessa's tyres are starting to get a little bit heated, so we'll ease back on the tyres there. The reputation. Crumpo cost us 3 seconds on the pit change, and Hazel's out in 19th. Well, so much for that. Everything was going so well. Now, you know, 3 seconds would put Hazel in 13th, 14th if we hadn't made that mistake. But coulda, shoulda, woulda is what we're going to say to that. Now, we're being closed down by Wu Yao, which is odd. That shouldn't be happening. Let's give it just a little bit more acceleration here. Now, if we can get to around lap 19 before we come in, that would be absolutely ideal, because it will allow us to absolutely rinse the soft tyres on the last session. In fact, we can push these tyres a little bit more, even though they were heating up. We do want to defend, because presumably Wu, his tyres are going to be a bit crispy. Maybe a little. Oh, I see. You're. Oh, okay. That's interesting. The amount of micromanagement going on there that the computer will do, but obviously we mere mortals, you can't do it to both drivers. So what? You're supposed to leave one driver on just do your best, mate, while with the other one you're constantly flick-flacking between your modes. Well, I suppose it's possible, but I'd quite like these tyres to cool down. We'll tell her to conserve them on the next straight, and see if that helps at all. So after we get round the next corner after this one, we've got a bit of a straight coming up, and we'll see if that can cool us down some. There you go. Ease it. Yeah, you're feeling good about... She is feeling good about life. That actually cooled the tyres off quite a bit. The needle visibly dropping before we hit it back up. So we'll continue to do that as long as I keep half an eye on the actual fuel situation here. This could pay off. So once we're around here, we're on another glorious straight, and then we're into another corner. It's an interesting way to play, I'll tell you that for nothing. Now, it would be quite nice to actually maintain the fuel here a touch, but more importantly, I do want to hold track position. You know, we're looking for a top 10 finish, and we're not going to get it unless we manage to keep the pace on. So once again, when we get round for the next straight, we'll ease off. I don't think we're going to stop Wu Yao getting past. I just don't see it happening. He's too hungry, wants it too much, wants it too badly. He's gonna get past pretty soon, I would have thought, and then we'll attack again, having eased it up. But yeah, I mean, it's only down to Vanessa's innate skills in the defensive drive that is keeping her competitive at the moment. The tyres are pretty rubbish, really, when it comes to it. We've had to go easy on them a fair bit here, and then we'll push again. Yeah, so the defensive fourth is ongoing, but we should start to see the second round of pit stops coming anytime soon. It looks like Mush has already been in, possibly Shaw as well. As Thomas is having trouble and is going in. 00 is going in. We can pit, absolutely we can pit on this lap. So Vanessa's up to third. She's not we can't go out on the aggro tyres. She hasn't got the time left to make that happen. We'll go out with 10 laps of fuel so that we have the option to put your foot down on that. The parts all look fine. Pit strategy, go aggro. Let's not have any mistakes, please. We haven't got much fuel left, but we have got enough to hammer it for the remainder of this lap, probably, and we'll push as well. any time we can shave during this this final lap out is going to pay dividends when we emerge from the pit lane. Absolutely no harm in giving it the beans at this point. There you go, attack, 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 and we're coming up on the pit lane. There we go, 0.2, 0.0, ran out of fuel as we rolled into the pits. That's not a bad way to do it. Drops, continues dropping. It's going to be... Okay, we're out. We'll go with a push and high approach as we come back out. Last 30 seconds in the pit lane is out ahead of no one significant, although Hong Lao's back in 18th. So that's not so bad, and there are a goodly number of drivers ahead of her who still have to come in. Based on tyre life, it looks like she could be third if we manage to close in on the gap that exists at the moment. 37 seconds out means that Massilela has a very high chance of getting out ahead of her. Moto, however, and Wu Yao, she could possibly overtake them while they're still pitted. Massilela's come back in and he's got himself aggro tyres. That's going to make for an interesting run. I don't know how that's going to work. Meanwhile, I've taken my eye off Hazel, and his tyres are completely nuked as far as temperature is concerned. We'll stick him on a conserve and medium there to keep him out a little longer. But realistically, he could come in any time now and get some more. Is there a benefit to keep him out on the track longer? No, he's just going to lose place. Let's get him in. Let's get him on good tyres. He's going to have 6 laps after the fill-up. So we'll go with 7.5. That should do the trick. Park condition, peachy. Pit strategy, rapido. Let's have it. We're not expecting Hazel to perform, but you never know. If in the event that he does, I'll be quite pleased. And he will be, as ever, challenging for the #1 car as we turn our attention back to Silvera. She's going to pick up a place as Hazel comes in and gets his business done. Hertz still had to come in as well. It's really now a question of how far Silvera is off the pace and whether she can close people down as she moves up to 6th. And I think we're there. I think we're done on pit stops now. So let's go aggressive. With Nick Hazel, who has emerged in 15th. It looks like Kitasato still has to come in. Looks like Shaw may possibly have to come in as well. Sarah Thomas came in very early, as did 00. I hope nothing bad happens to them that means they have to come in again. Wouldn't that be dreadful? Okay, so we're looking good. Vanessa's tyres have heated back up again in no time flat, so we'll get her to ease off on those a little. She's got a second and a bit over P. Ruto's behind her, and I doubt very much she's going to be closing Wu Yao down anytime soon. He was clearly driving much faster when we last checked that particular battle. Hazel, meanwhile, who knows? That Joker, anything could happen. Archer have allowed Chris Shaw to overtake Trolley Fodder. The fans don't like it, we don't like it, nobody likes it, but there it is. It is a fact of racing, and there's no harm in that. Moto's just dropped a place over Wu Yao, who, as mentioned, is driving pretty well. Not many laps left to go. I'd quite like to keep my tyres in check for a late surge, but we'll have to see how that pans out. As Hazel's tyres are looking all right. But he is getting a bit close to Mendes. Tough to say whether he's doing it, whether he's going to make a play at some point, whether it's even possible for him to make a play. But you never know. I don't really want his strategy panel up as well. Ease off a little bit, Nickers. We'll wait until our time is right, and then we will strike like a viper and make a difference. Come on, Vanessa, up you go. Come on, Nick, up you go. There you go. Maybe I'll do it in parallel. Maybe that's the way to go. We'll do both of them. We'll drive both cars at the same time. Now then, we've got 2 laps left to go. Both drivers have got 4 laps of fuel. Let's put the foot down there, ladies and gentlemen, and see if we can't get something out of this. He's up on the tyres. He's up on the tyres. 1 to 2 laps of full aggro. Given that Vanessa has got Ruto and Price not too far back at all, we'd quite like to defend 6th. That would be a thing that would be very nice to do. Where are we looking here? 54% left on the tyres. It's the temperature. That's the big thing. Is keep that temperature under control so that we can maintain the track speed that we're getting now. She's not going to close anyone else down unless they have mechanical difficulties, but she's going to hopefully hang on to the position she's got right now. It would be nice to see Hazel perform a little better than this, but I don't think we're going to see it. And Vanessa can now push for the remainder of her time on the track, as can Chuckles McGinty here. And we'll see if we can't get him up a little bit closer. He's a second behind Kitasato. He's got better tyres than Kitasato. He is closing them down. Can we leave Vanessa to it? Yes. Let's go check in on Hazel. All right, mate, look, come on. Harsh it. Just absolutely floor that thing. Come on, son. Go on, you can make 13th. There it is. Rah! In your face, Kitasato. Hazel wants it and then secures it beautifully to move up into 13th with 1 lap of track time left to go. We're going to have to ease the tyres, though. We'll conserve where possible. We'll see if we can't save a little bit of energy for a late aggro push to try and just maintain that position. He's not going to close anyone else down. It's all good. We're now just waiting for him to finish. But I'm not letting that joker back in because no, that's not how we roll. 13th instead of 14th. That'll do though. And there it is. So Vanessa locks down 6th. That's her all secure. A good result there as Hazel comes in 13th. And as he says, that's okay. But it was a good test on the one-stop strategy there. I think we've ably demonstrated that one-stopping, you can get close, real close, but you are going to be on vapours. Wolfthrath just ran out of fuel. He was clearly trying something cunning as well. I can't close this down to be able to say for sure. But there it is. 00 wins another one, and that will surely lock him up for the season. With very few races left to run, I would be surprised if anyone could stop the mighty 00 at this stage. So as we look at tyre history, Vanessa came in first, giving her some clean air coming out there, whereas Hazel came in last. If it could have stayed out longer on the last stint there, but that looks to be the strategy that Shaw applied, and it really did not work for him at all. He stayed out for a goodly length of time there, but couldn't get it done. And as you can see, Hazel very close to halfway through the race on that first set. Very, very close. 11 laps. That's impressive stuff. And still managed to finish in 13th. Could have been better, could have been worse. But Vanessa did absolutely fine. Would have been nice to finish on the speedier tyres rather than start that way. But at the end of the day, she didn't need it. It was all good. We got the job done. Scrutineering. We are running risky parts on both cars now. And they didn't spot them. Suckers. We've hit the sponsor objective. Trolley fodder, however, has been dropped 2 places. Naughty, naughty, naughty. Archer BMR. What a shower of just unpleasantness that team really is. But yeah, that wasn't too bad at all. It would be nice to see fastest lap times. That would be worth seeing. But you can't have it all. So Vanessa is now 9th, a top 10 place for Vanessa Silvera in the championship as Fodder's demotion there costs him 9th. Nicholas Hazel in 12th. I'm fine with that. 12th is absolutely acceptable. The standard, the usual suspects of Predator and Dragon Race Team China really stinking the place up down at the bottom end of the standings. And then we look at the overall team rating, and we're now a point ahead of Octane. Good for us. Within 8 of Firebird, and it would be quite nice to close in on them, but we'll see. So, Camille Rongier, Zampelli Engineering need to get their act together. Hashtag specialist in failure. Yeah. Then Akriti Sequera, Woo, Hands 00 was on form today. Loving it. Yeah, back the favourite. That's the way to go. Motorsport Teeth with Michelle Dupont says, brilliant from Hands 00 and Garuda Racing today. Can anyone stop them? No, is the answer. And then Sheila Yeasley, OMG yes, what a race, hashtag Garuda Racing, hashtag too good, hashtag fair weather follower. Yeah, we don't need people like that. You know, you back the team when it's down as well as it's up. You don't switch just because they're doing well. That's not fandom. That's something else entirely. Anyway, that'll wrap it up. A good weekend's drive at Guildford. I can't complain with that in the slightest. Neither are my drivers anywhere near levelling up anything of value. But hopefully we'll get there soon. Nick's consistency would be nice to get that done. And smoothness too. That's going to go well with his nursemaidery. But there you go. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Colonel Failure. A couple of races still to go in the season, and it looks like Kurt's going to end up happy as a result of our performance. So chuck a like at this one if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to make sure you don't miss out on whatever comes next. And I'll catch up with you very soon. Thanks for watching. Cheerio.